right, everyone. We are live with big wave surfer Emily Erickson. And Emily, go ahead and tell us where you're from originally and how you got involved in the sport of surfing.
Yeah, I'm originally from the Northshore of Oahu here, Sunset Beach. I have lived all over in my life. I lived on the East Coast, I've traveled a lot in Mexico, and yeah, I ended up just finding my way into surfing. My dad used to be a lifeguard and part of the first few Eddie cows, watermen, along with a lot of other things. And so when I ended up moving back here around the time of like college, I started getting back in the water more, and I was boogie boarding Sunset, like big Sunset, which is kind of irregular. People don't really do that, but I loved it. I found my way back into the water in that way. And so the next winter came along and I just borrowed a big board out from under Dad's house and took it out to Sunset and, you know, just caught waves. I don't know. It's kind of crazy, like I guess people don't do it that way, but I just immediately wanted to like be in big surf. So that's what I did. I had a 10.6 Dick Brewer single fin gun that had already been broken twice. Within 2 months, I was like air dropping on like 12 footers at Sunset and broke it for the third time. Grabbed another board out from under Dad's house and, you know, kept surfing Sunset big that whole first winter.
Yeah.
And then, you know, yeah, from there, it just kept going and going and going. The following summer, I ended up breaking my ankle and I had to take a few months just to just take it easy and heal. I had a surgery on it and I have all these metal, you know, screws and stuff in it still. But I think the timing of it as well, like kind of lit a fire within me. I already had such a major fire and passion for surfing, but coupled with, you know, that experience and not being able to do what I wanted to do at the time, I ended up just jumping back into it super hard that winter when I could surf. Christmas Day, what was it, like 2009, that El Nino winter. Yeah, my friend and I ended up going over to the west side and surfing big waves. And then pretty soon after that, and this is at a time when it wasn't like as popular as it is now, like more than a decade ago. And yeah, that same winter, like 2 months later or whatever, ended up surfing Waimea for the first time. And, you know, now here I am.
The rest is history, yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. So
wild ride.
Tell us about what shapes do you currently ride, and what's your go-to shape when you're looking for a surfboard to ride waves of that size?
Yeah, for my guns, I have like all kinds of big boards. I gravitate towards single fins, kind of like this old school, you know, that's what other people call it, old school. Shapes, and I really like those. I like having, you know, some beefy volume up front, and that way when I'm paddling, I just know those boards so well. By this time, like I just feel confident surfing that kind of board, and I know how it's going to work, how it's going to feel, how it's going to drop, whatever. So I've surfed this one board in particular. It's a 10.6. Shaped it with my best friend Lyle Carlson, like literally about a decade ago now.
Awesome. Okay.
And the majority of all my big waves that I've ever ridden were on that board. So this winter with the Eddie Cow announcement, I was invited, which is like the dream beyond the dream, pretty much, for any big wave surfer, but most especially me. Yeah, we were inspired again, so we shaped a replica, an exact hand-shaped replica of that board. And it's a 10.6, it's, you know, almost 4 inches thick. It's pretty wide, but it's like, you wouldn't believe it. It's a pintail, single fin, wide point forward, and it gets the job done.
Awesome.
And I see more and more people more interested in getting back into that kind of surfing because it just works.
Yeah, and we actually got some footage of you that day, and that day was really big. I was really disappointed when I found out that Eddie was gonna happen because like they were predicting, I think it was 30 to 45, and then like the morning of it kind of dropped down to like 25 to 30, and then that's when
Faces,
yeah, they
well,
called it.
you know, that's like about half the size it needs to be to run the eddy. And there were still some bigger sets, which was nice and super fun.
Yeah.
And it gave me the chance to take out that board for the first time, the new remake Maiden Voyage. So
Yeah.
that was really cool. Yeah, and thank you for catching that. That was like probably one of my more fun waves that
Yeah.
day.
So what's it like? Like, what does it feel like to actually like dropping into something that big? Do you ever look back, or do you get intimidated with looking back? Like,
Look back?
yeah, at the wave, like as it's forming behind you. Like, what does that sensation feel like?
You kind of have to have this like very strong conviction that you're gonna make it if you're gonna go. In my mind, big wave surfing, you only have like a certain amount of wipeouts or, you know, whatever I think that are healthy before maybe your brain's too scrambled or you have lost too much oxygen in your life, whatever. I have like my own theories on it. I know like a lot of the big wave surfers were all like kind of quirky people, and so everyone develops their own like, you know, superstition or thought process or whatever that they go through.
Okay.
But so that's mine, and so when I'm going for a wave, for big waves, like 99% of the time I would say the drop is, at least for me, I'm gonna make that. Hopefully, you know, because I want to extend my big wave like experience as long into my life as I possibly can.
Yeah.
It's just such a beautiful thing, like the rawness of nature that we get to experience. So I want to continue that as long as I possibly can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I don't know. I don't really look back, no. Sure,
Yeah.
if it's like, you know, white man, you're sharing a wave and your buddy's like a bit deeper or something, you look back and you're laughing.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
this is one way, but if it's like a crazy 20 footer or bigger or something, it's like, yeah, you know, within the realms of safety.
Yeah. Okay.
Hi,
Awesome.
Chuck.
And the next question is, this is actually from one of the girls. She wants to know what your nutrition is like.
My nutrition.
Yeah.
I lead mostly a plant-based diet. I do eat fish from time to time, and very, very rarely some kind of like steak or something if I'm at a friend's house and they've made food or, you know, whatever. But yeah, I think plant-based diets are like, obviously, you know, if you have some kind of like eco-consciousness these days and awareness, you know, you're kind of tuned into that. It also makes me feel incredible. Just a super balanced diet. I like to juice in the morning. I have my coffee with like mushrooms, like reishi and chaga and cacao, coconut, all this stuff. You can make crazy concoctions, and it's like really fulfilling to cook that way.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of salads, you know, smoothies. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a great way to be creative,
Yeah.
cooking like that.
Yeah.
you know?
Okay. Yeah, and it's crazy because I feel like more and more people are becoming health conscious to that type of lifestyle and diet.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
All right.
It's like extremely necessary if you want to have the amount of energy it takes to sustain your mind and your body for, you know, an extreme sport like
Yeah.
surfing big waves, where
Yeah.
you don't know what's even going to come at you. The ocean's always such a variable.
Mm-hmm.
But then even afterwards, the recovery process, you actually can recover and heal faster if you're leading a plant-based diet rather than like animal-based, you know,
Yeah.
animal fats in your system. You have better circulation with plants.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. And next question is, what's it like to be on a big wave?
What's it like to be on a big wave? To be on a big wave is to be free. It's to be creative. It is to live, to actually experience, not just wait to live. Like, I often feel like sometimes it's hard to come down from a session because you're living on such a frequency, There was a certain point where I was, you know, I still have a bunch of jobs in Haleiwa, and there was a certain point where I was waiting tables at this restaurant, and I would, you know, surf Waimea, and it would be 15 or 20 feet or whatever, you know, and I would go through all these experiences and emotions and personal highs and like this amazing frequency of life
Yeah.
experience, and then I would have to, you know, check my watch and make it in on time and, and get into a uniform and
Yeah.
then go like do exactly what people want you to do, and that is extremely difficult for me.
I bet.
Yeah, so it's hard to reconcile these experiences in
Yeah.
life.
Okay.
Hi, Lily.
Okay, awesome. And the next question is, what conditions do you look for when surfing big waves?
Well, there's all kinds of big waves. I mean, for conditions, I like to see light winds. It's safer, and if you're a woman and you weigh maybe a little bit less, like I'm long and lanky, but I don't have like that much weight, it's safer if there's less wind.
Okay.
I like the sun to be out because I like to be warm.
Of course.
And of course, I would love to not wear a wetsuit and all the other crap that, you know, you're supposed to wear these days.
Yeah.
I think being the closest to your natural, the way you naturally are, is probably the safest in my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want there to be sun, light winds. I like a nice northwest with like a decent period, so there's strong enough waves.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
The next question is, what are your thoughts on helmets being used in big wave surfing? And do you wear a helmet?
Helmets are probably great. I've never worn one. I don't own one. I kind of just operate within like the bounds of the things that I have. Like, have I ever towed? No, I've never towed. I don't have a ski. Skis are expensive. Also, you probably need a partner that you trust. Like things like this. For helmets, I'm sure I could get one. I think concussions and brain damage is kind of something that's not being very well addressed within this whole competitive big wave surf arena.
Yeah.
Especially what I've seen at Jaws the last few times. People wiping out so nonchalantly with like no thought for the brain swelling that they obviously are having.
Yes.
And then, you know, maybe that's something that could be addressed, and I think it will be. I personally am very conscious of it because I have a lot of other injuries as well, which I'm trying to proactively avoid for the future. But especially brain damage, I think like the most important part of doing something so extreme is your mind state. So if you're, and I've known people that have dealt with different brain traumas, like my friend Mercedes and this other guy Sean Dollar have like some very significant stuff they've dealt with, and they, you know, especially Sean, such a great big wave surfer at Mavs, and he has a family which he focuses on more nowadays, which is, it's great. It's been a good transition for him, I think. I don't know him so well, but I follow his journey, and it's like definitely something I've kept in mind, you know. You want to learn, not just from your experiences, but you want to like see what people are doing and actually like learn from it, so you know.
Yeah. Okay. Next question is, how do you get comfortable with being uncomfortable? I guess with that being said, you know, there's always the thought in your mind that you don't want to get too relaxed because that's the moment where, you know, things could turn south.
Yeah. I don't really know. I like seem to be kind of comfortable in situations that people aren't comfortable in. Like, you know, I started surfing big waves and still do for the most part this whole time without the flotation. I think people getting into it now, probably a lot of them have never surfed big waves without flotation.
Yeah.
And these are two completely different mindsets and different experiences, and like how, I don't even know how to really think of that, you know?
Yeah.
I kind of forget your question because I just got wrapped up in that.
Oh yeah, so it's like, so with the thought of, you know, at some point you get super comfortable,
yes.
but is there a point where, you know, you always have to have the thought in the back of your mind like, oh crap, I'm going under, I need to hold my breath, you know, that type of...
Well, I mean, in big waves, like honestly, I'm usually like super relaxed, as long as, like, one of my things is I don't like getting caught inside. And I'm on a big board, I know the certain waves I want. like I have enough experience and whatever now to pick what I want. And you know, when I'm getting to know breaks, of course, you learn by trial and error. But
Okay.
I think for the most part, I remained super calm unless I'm about to be caught inside. Things that are beyond my control kind of like irk me, like that, you know, where you'd have to take the whole set on the head or something.
Yeah.
But other than that, it is incredibly important and like literally just the centerpiece vital to big wave surfing, I think, to remain calm.
Yeah.
Like I said, your mind is the most powerful tool. We can train our bodies, you can eat all the best food, you can do all this stuff, you can have the best board, the best flotation, you can be the richest person and purchase all the things, but if you don't have the correct mind state, you're never gonna go anywhere.
Exactly. Awesome. And the next question is, in your history of surfing, were you ever afraid of being on big waves, or have the thought that maybe, wow, this might be too big for me?
No, I mean, I have I have the ability to definitely like call a day for myself. It's one of the more important things, like you know when to go and you know when not to go.
Yeah.
There have only been maybe like 2 or 3 days where I was like, nah, I'm not feeling this because of, you know, maybe I'm recovering from the flu and it's big and I can't breathe correctly or whatever, you know. So it's of course healthy to have that judgment call. But as far as being afraid, no. I personally, when I got back into the ocean, I just connected with something that I felt like what I was meant to do. And I didn't struggle with that at all. It clicked for me, which, you know, it's been one of the best blessings in my life.
Yeah.
The wildest journey, the wildest ride. I've met the coolest people and traveled all around and done crazy things. And so it wasn't ever a matter of being afraid of that.
Okay.
No.
Awesome.
Yeah.
The next question is, what's the longest time you've ever been held underwater?
I don't really know what the longest time I've been held underwater is, but I think that like in the more extreme, like deadly, life-threatening type situations, I tend to actually relax. Like I have I think I have some kind of like automatic response system where I can realize when it's like an instinctual thing. I can realize where it's going to be, you know, dangerous, and then I just kind of do relax. There have been situations though, of course, like anyone, where it's not even probably as life-threatening, but I just kind of like don't relax. I resist, and when you resist, that's the most dangerous thing.
I bet.
Because that's when your mind is not, you know,
yeah, you're not relaxed,
flowing with it.
in a zone. Yeah.
The more you try to fight it, the worse it is.
I bet.
Yeah.